Miami tonight. The Florida Marlins need a win, and they need to beat the Philadelphia Phillies. They just have not been able to do it all season long. The Phillies have dominated the Fish. Ross Glode, Ryan Howard, doesn't matter who's wearing that Philly uniform. Last night, Raul Ibanez. Tonight, Kyle Kendrick takes the ball for the Phillies, and the Marlins' best is on the mound. Anibal Sanchez, who had the Phillies beaten in Philadelphia the last time he started, as the Fish try to salvage one game of this three-game series. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. What is it about the Phillies that makes it so difficult for the Marlins to beat them, not only this year in this ballpark, but stretching back 3 years?
First off, they have a lot of confidence because of the way they've played against the Marlins. But secondly, if you just look at the matchups, the Marlins don't hit their pitchers, and the Phillies have great numbers against the Marlins pitching. So something's got to give. Hopefully tonight, Anibal Sanchez can turn things around a little bit.
And there's a lot of Philly hitters that are fattening up their numbers at the Marlins' expense. We saw that last night in the start by Chris Volstad, and then the rest of the bullpen coming in. This is last night's numbers.
Just incredible what Ryan Howard's done against Chris Volstad. He was 4 for 5 in the game. Look at Ibanez and Rollins. Howard 8 for 25 with a couple of home runs against Anibal Sanchez. Rollins a .296 hitter against Anibal. But he has gotten Ibanez, just 3 for 17 against Ibanez in his career. So you mark those 3 hitters down. The one guy who's really hit Sanchez is Placido Polanco. He's not playing tonight.
Sanchez has pitched better against the Phillies lately, especially his last time in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he had that game 1 against Roy Halladay. He's had 2 starts against the Phillies this year, a .277 ERA against Philadelphia. When he has it going, he didn't have it going his last outing against the Texas Rangers, but when he has it going like that, spotting the fastball, the slider, the changeup was really working for him at Citizens Bank Park. He needs to make those kinds of pitches tonight.
Coventry Healthcare of Florida, starting pitchers. Anibal Sanchez, what will the Fish see from Kyle Kendrick tonight?
They will see a guy who also has to spot the ball. He has to be perfect with his control, not overpowering. He will sink it. He'll throw a slider. Overall, his record not that great against the Marlins, but lately he's been good against the Fish.
Yeah, the Phillies are on quite a roll. Best record in baseball. Marlins will try to take a bite out of them and then get ready for the Houston Astros. Can they beat the Phillies? Can they stop the Phillies? Mike Cameron is here, and he's in uniform. You'll learn a little bit more about one of the game's good guys, Mike Cameron, when we return.
respond by some of the ways that some guys play. You know, you need guys, especially like guys like Handler who've been here for a while, to show them some leadership from a guy who's been good for a long time. You know, and I'm just trying to add to that. Hopefully, add some background to that, and go out and try to play well here for these guys.
Mike, the excitement of having more playing time, because that's the one you can't control. That must make you feel good that you get a chance at least to play a little bit. Huh?
Yeah. That's probably the best thing, man. You know, I need to play a little bit, kind of get myself, you know, situated again. You know, I haven't played a while like that, like I'm going to play now since spring training, and I look forward to it. It's a different challenge, different direction, and so it's going to be kind of a nice experience to come down here and come with these young guys and try to do some good things for them.
All right, thoughts there, Mike Cameron. Do you think he'll play lefty going against the Marlins tomorrow night?
I wouldn't be surprised. You know, Jack McKeon is always all about changing up the lineup, and he actually asked me if he wanted to get in there tonight. But, hey, just give me a day. Let me get acclimated a little bit, and I'm sure we'll see him in there tomorrow night.
All right, good to have Mike Cameron. Seems like a nice guy as well. Get a chance to chat with him before the game, and has had a heck of a major league career. Up next, though, our focus goes to Phillies Fish. It's game. Can the Marlins going to win against these guys? Phillies have won 21 of the last 25 in this ballpark against Florida. Game 3 of the series is coming up next.
Sports Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Moving forward. By AT&T. By Checkers, Little Place, Big Tastes. And by Florida Power & Light. FPL is working to make its system stronger, smarter, cleaner, and even more efficient. Visit FPL.com to learn more. You want baseball? Here we go. First pitch to Jimmy Rollins is a fastball high, and we're underway at Sun Life Stadium. Jimmy Rollins, Michael Martinez, Chase Utley for the best team in baseball record-wise, the Philadelphia Phillies, 55-32. And boy, did they flex their muscles last night, scoring 14 runs on 18 hits. So a challenge for Anibal Sanchez, who has outstanding numbers, a little better bullpen, a little more run support. He could easily have 9 or 10 wins this year.
Well, we talked about that game that he had going on June 15th, second game of that split doubleheader at Citizens Bank. He had a 4-2 lead.
Throws a strike to Rollins.
Had a 4-2 lead against Roy Halladay, and after 7 innings, things were looking pretty good until the Phillies scored 2 in the bottom of the 9th to tie it, 1 in the 10th to win it.
Sanchez comes back to make it 3-2. Charlie Manuel and the Phillies headed home for a 3-game set with Atlanta before the All-Star break. Rollins bangs it into center field, a base hit. Jimmy Rollins had 4 hits and scored 3 runs last night.
Well, the whole problem there is just falling behind. Jimmy Rollins, there's the lineup.
Warren Henry bringing you Michael Martinez following Rollins. Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Raul Ibanez, Carlos Ruiz, Dominic Brown's in right. John Mayberry gets the start in center field, and Kyle Kendrick will hit 9th. And here is Martinez. Versatile guy. We've seen him in the infield. We've seen him in the outfield. He drops down a bunt, and it's foul. He's got speed. He's kind of a Emilio Bonifacio type guy, and then he can play multiple positions. Switch hitter, and he adds some speed to the Phillies lineup. And of course, he's in there at third base. Placido Polanco with a sore back, and Polanco missing his 2nd straight game. Polanco is 35, and of course, a great fielding third baseman, clutch hitter. But the Phillies seemed to do just fine without him last night.
Well, we've seen Martinez, who has been in center. This is his first start this year at third base. Showing off a little versatility.
Can play second, can play short. Made a nice diving catch in center field last night. (0-2). Final game of a 3-game series. We've told you how dominant the Phillies have been against the Marlins this year. And that's helped the Phillies to a 4-game lead in the East. And Sanchez gets a strikeout of Martinez.
Good job getting ahead and then putting Martinez away with what looked like a really good changeup.
Now Chase Utley. Utley, of course, did not play in April. Did not start the season with the big club. You see him at 37 games, the knee injury that he was rehabbing. But he's back. You heard Charlie Manuel say before the ball game, nice to have him back in the lineup. He feels like the Phillies offense is going to start to click a little more. And as Tommy noted, he's one of the guys that has great numbers against Sanchez.
There always seems to be a couple of those guys in the lineup against a Marlins starter.
Fastball, a strike, and it's 0-1. Utley, as intense a guy and as tough a guy as you'll find. Charlie Manuel has said many times he's the hardest worker he's ever had. He's the toughest player he's ever had. And he's the most prepared player he's ever had. And he bounces that one into right field, the base hit. Stanton picks it up. Rollins is going to challenge his arm. Here's the throw, and it's cut by Hanley. It was offline, and they're going to get Utley.
That's a good job. That is why you hit the cutoff man. It gives you an option. The throw looked like it might have been a little offline, and that's why you line yourself up as the cutoff man so you know if it's to your left or right, it's going to be offline. If Mike Stanton airmails that throw to third, Hanley doesn't have the opportunity to cut it off and get the out. So that's a heads-up play all around. You got to have peripheral vision. You have to see what Utley's doing. So Hanley picks it, saw that Utley had taken a big turn, and then gets the out at first base. Really nicely done.
I would expect if you ask Utley about that play, he didn't expect Hanley to get up and get that ball. There's Rollins 90 feet away, and Sanchez has to get Ryan Howard to finish the inning. Big night for Howard last night. He was 4 for 5 with a long home run and drove in 4. Sanchez misses inside with a breaking ball. And the Phillies slugger just continues to produce 71 runs driven in. High breaking ball. He fouls that back to the screen.
Well, you mentioned, Rich, a 4-hit night. One of those hits is 8th career home run against Chris Volstad. We saw a guy recently in Bobby Abreu who has 10 career home runs against Javi Vasquez.
His 18 home runs has him tied for 4th in home runs in the National League. 71 RBIs, tied for 1st with Prince Fielder. Lance Berkman, who homered last night, 23 on the season for St. Louis. Matt Kemp at 22, Fielders at 22. Then you've got Jay Bruce and Ryan Howard at 18. 1-2 coming. Didn't bite on the breaking ball. And it's 2-2.
And remember, in that outing in Philadelphia for Anibal Sanchez, the pitch that really was working and helped him out was that changeup, especially with all these tough left-handers.
That seems to be the pitch where he's made the most progress on this year. Threw it a little bit last year, but not nearly as effectively as this year.
There it is.
Got him. Anibal Sanchez strikes out Ryan Howard, leaving Jimmy Rollins at 3rd.
De Florida.
Hey, wait a minute. Texas was last week. Now it's the Phillies. Got some Ranger fans here. All right, Warren Henry brings you the Marlins batting order. Emilio Bonifacio, Omar Infante, Gabby Sanchez, Hanley Ramirez, Logan Morrison, Mike Stanton, Brian Peterson up in the 7th spot. He's swung the bat well since coming up. John Buck hits 8th, and Anibal Sanchez hits 9th. This is Kyle Kendrick unfolding towards Emilio Bonifacio. Doug Eddings calling balls and strikes says outside it's 1-0.
You know, it was Kendrick that pitched the first game of that split doubleheader and beat the Marlins. He went 7 innings.
Bonifacio drops down a bunt. Good one. Kendrick fields. Safe. Dana Demuth, the crew chief, with that call at first base. And Bonifacio is aboard.
Rich, you and I have talked about so many things that we've seen Bonifacio do over the last 2-3 weeks, and dropping down bunts is one of them. He's attempted bunting for base hits a lot more, and I think you're going to see it a lot more because he's had success. Great execution. Kendrick didn't have a chance. Made it close, though. Bonnie with a 9-game hitting streak.
So now here is Infante. You got Gabby Sanchez and Hanley Ramirez scheduled as well. Bottom of the first. Glad you're with us tonight. The Phillies and the Marlins. The Marlins on their American League West tour, seemingly able to pull out of their nosedive. Went 5-4 with series wins in Oakland and then to finish it in Texas. A strike to Infante. It's 0-1. But a 1-0 loss. A close game in game 1 to the Phillies. And last night, an absolute pounding at the hands of the Fightin' Phils. 14-2. Bonifacio away from first. Infante smokes it into left. Big turn. They'll stop there. Ibanez up with it. Philly's the best defensive team in the National League.
Boy, they are. They have sure hands all over the place. Ibanez, John Mayberry starting in center. Dominic Brown, the young left-handed hitting right fielder. Michael Martinez, first start of the year at third. Rollins and Utley up the middle. Howard, no changes there. And Carlos Ruiz, one of the best behind the plate. And it's brought to you by Warren Henry.
In fact, the Phillies' fielding percentage is best in baseball, 1 point higher than the White Sox in the American League. So here's Gabby. He's one of the hitters that has had success against Kendrick. He pops it up. Ruiz makes the catch. And Gabby Sanchez is out either trying to bunt for a hit or trying to move the runners up.
That's one we'll have to wait till after the game to find out if he was doing that on his own. Just not a good angle of the bat. Trying to watch how this bat drops down, and that's why the ball pops up, and Ruiz pops on it and pounces on it quickly. It's a big out for the Phillies.
Hanley Ramirez now. I was just about to say, Gabby 7 for 13 against Kendrick. Hanley steps in. He's a .240 hitter with 25 at-bats against this right-hander out of Mount Vernon, Washington, as the Kendrick spins around.
I'm going to guess, Rich, that Gabby did that on his own.
I would concur.
I would be surprised, and mainly this is my thinking with the amount of runs the Phillies have scored. You got to have a big inning, and you have an opportunity to have a big inning right here.
Hanley hits a ground ball towards Utley. Shovels it to Rollins. Quick turn and a double play. And just like that, first and second, nobody out. Goes up in smoke on a 6-pitch inning. Wow. This ball game, the Marlins in the bottom of the first, an unbelievable inning. They get 2 hits, had runners first and second, and Kyle Kendrick gets out of the inning having thrown just 6 pitches.
Not too sure I've ever seen that. Here's the defense for the Fish, brought to you by Warren Henry. Lomo, Peterson, and Stanton. Bonifacio and Hanley. Infante and Gabby. And John Buck is behind the plate. Get 2 hits in an inning, and Kendrick had to throw 6 pitches.
Here is Carlos Ruiz, the Panamanian catcher. 1 for 5 last night. Hits it well left center. Peterson after it there, and he makes the running catch. He's got good speed, and he's a very good outfielder. He got a good first step and a nice angle, and he ran it down.
Well, the newest Marlin, Mike Cameron's going to enjoy watching Peterson make this play. Good jump, good extension, and stayed with it all the way. Foxmo shows you the concentration. Nicely done by Petey.
Here's Dominic Brown. Sanchez misses away to Brown. Phillies are hopeful that Brown fulfills his promise. He's just 23. He's a guy that grew up in Pasco, Florida, and then moved during his high school career to the suburban Atlanta area, Stone Mountain, Georgia. Fouls it back and out of play. He was one of the great high school wide receivers in this state, a top 20 wide receiver in this state as a junior in high school, and then went on to be a highly rated wide receiver in Georgia, where he played both sports, and then of course ended up signing with the Phillies. Sanchez loses it. He ended up going to Redan High School, Brandon Phillips' alma mater. 2-out walk. Here comes John Mayberry. All your cooling brings us the weather. 81 degrees. Cloudy and rain is possible.
One of those little things, Rich, the 2-out walk, all of a sudden Sanchez had a chance to have himself a low pitch quick inning, and sometimes this is what gets him in trouble when he maybe can only give you 6 innings as opposed to 7 or 8. There was an opportunity to go right after Dominic Brown, and he lost him.
He got the first 2 outs on just 3 pitches. Mayberry appeared last night. Son of the former major leaguer John Mayberry, who was a big left-handed pull hitter, first baseman, Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, different body type, hit from the other side of the plate.
We haven't asked Cookie this, but I suspect Cookie may have been a teammate of his father's, if Cookie's years in Kansas City overlapped.
And I was too, in Toronto.
That ball's hit hard and deep and gone. And the Phillies, just like that, have a 2-0 lead.
And the 2-out walk bites you.
What a turn of events from the bottom of the first to the top of the second.
Boy, a mistake fastball, belt high. You walk the number 7 hitter, and you give a cookie to the number 8 hitter, and just like that, it's 2-0 Phillies.
And of course, that came on the heels of the Marlins' bottom of the first, where they got the first 2 hitters on, both with base hits. Had their number 3 hitter pop up a bunt, and then Hanley hit into a double play, and then this happens.
Wow, look at that pitch. Split the middle of the plate and up a little bit.
Sanchez strikes out Kendrick, but the Phillies strike first again. This time it's John Mayberry. 2-0. guy who's in the ball game because of the injury to Shane Victorino. Kyle Kendrick with our Metro PCS scouting report. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tommy Hutton.
Well, there you see, low 90s, little sink. He has an improved cutter that he uses. Very quick to first base. And as we saw in the first inning, he throws strikes, he keeps it down. He had that 6-pitch inning.
Logan Morrison, Mike Stanton, Brian Peterson scheduled here in the bottom of the second inning as the Phillies have spotted Kyle Kendrick a 2-run lead. Morrison's had a tough series. He's 0 for 8 in this series. He is against Kyle Kendrick 3 for 6 with a home run. Here Doug Eddings make that call. Morrison's average has dipped to 259. And at times, Tommy, he looks like a young hitter that's still trying to find that balance between the selectiveness that helped get him here and the aggression to drive in runs and produce at the big league level. There's a 1-1.
Yeah, because there was a time that we talked about the high on-base percentages of Logan Morrison and Gabby Sanchez. Gabby's just gone down a little, still very good at 368. But Lomo has dropped down to 337 in the on-base percentage. And, boy, you look at some of the numbers of Phillies against Marlins, then you look at Marlins against Phillies. Lomo 200 against the Phillies this year, and a number of hitters under 200.
Kendrick almost brought that back over the plate. 2-2. And we saw it, especially in the month of June, as the Marlins were losing the 1-run games and the top and the bottom of the order were not hitting. The guys that had been hitting, Gabby, Morrison, even Stanton to an extent, all of a sudden started to press and started to almost try to do too much.
Yeah, there are a few things involved there. I think that's part of it, but I also think the league starts to adjust and pitchers start to make changes. And these young hitters haven't made the changes yet. Gabby's done the best job of all.
Morrison has worked a 3-2 count. Kendrick's pitch pulled foul down the first base line. Three and two base hits to open that first inning against Kendrick. The bunt single by Bonifacio, Infante's sharp grounder into left field. And he got him. The nasty breaking ball. Morrison strikes out. Here comes Stanton. This Saturday is a Baker Concrete Super Saturday. It's on the 9th, and the postgame show is Cirque Dreams, presented by Doctors Hospital. The entire family will enjoy the production of Cirque Dreams live postgame after the Marlins and the Astros at 7:10. 1-877-MARLINS, the number to call for tickets. Here's Mike Stanton. Pair of hits last night. Both of them hit hard, and he pulls one foul. It's 0-1.
Mike with a little success against Kendrick, 2 for 8 with a home run. And remember Mike's Major League debut in Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park last June.
Ball and a strike. Talked to Eduardo Perez about Stanton's night last night. He liked what he saw. Said he thought Mike was a little more upright, a little closer to the plate. He hit one of the hardest balls. You heard Jeff Conine say it on Marlins Live. The triple that he hit in the 4th inning off the A in the new ballpark seats on sale now sign, and that's about 420 feet from home plate. And it seemed like the ball was still going up when it hit the wall. Down he goes, and Kendrick all of a sudden, with the help of the Marlins themselves, and then the double play ball, and struck out the first 2 here in the second.
Look at the pitches, and it's all about swinging at strikes. And in this case, swinging at balls, and Kendrick coming out on top.
Both Morrison and Stanton swinging at pitches out of the zone. And here's Brian Peterson. Peterson's done a nice job. 4 for 15 since he's been called up, with a couple of doubles. He's had some good at-bats against lefties as well. He was 2 for 4 last night with a double. One of those hits was against Cole Hamels. He was 1 for 3 against Hamels. And that's down as well. And Peterson is a guy too, Tommy. One of the things that was really impressive about his numbers in AAA, his on-base percentage was .434 in the Pacific Coast League. He was hitting .351.
I think the one thing he really focused on was getting pitches in the strike zone.
He said as well, he came to spring training with a little different attitude and in a lot better shape, he said. He said he was determined this year to come to spring training game ready and try to open some eyes. .3-0 pitch. Chatsworth High School, Matt Dominguez alma mater. Mike Moustakas, the young prospect who's just up with the Kansas City Royals, was Dominguez's teammate at that high school. And Peterson hits it in the air to center. That would be John Mayberry loping in and making the catch. And Kyle Kendrick is in a groove now. A 1-2-3 second. Nothing. Phillies on top. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Marlins. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Second time through for the Phillies now against Anibal Sanchez. Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley both had singles in the first. Phillies did not score. They did in the second, though. A 2-out walk to Dominic Brown, and John Mayberry hit one over the wall and left. Rollins' average is climbing. Phillies hoping to get a full, healthy season from Jimmy. Just 88 games last year with a myriad of injuries. Calf, foot, hamstring.
The former MVP in the 2007 season. Jimmy with a 5-game hitting streak now, by the way, with his base hit.
He does not have the range that he once had at shortstop, but he still makes every play. That one is a fair ball. Gabby right on the line. Rollins watched it from the box. And there's one out here in the third.
I think Jimmy thought this ball was going to go foul. A couple of steps. Gabby stayed right there and saw the umpire at first base, Dana Demuth, make the call.
Michael Martinez with a big swing and a miss. Well, we'll see if Anibal Sanchez can settle into this ball game. Kind of a rude awakening, the 2-run homer in the second. Ball and a strike. Sanchez was matched up against Alexi Ogando on Friday in Texas. It was at the bottom end of a 15-5 pileup by the Texas Rangers. This time Sanchez is over. Gabby flips it. Anibal is there. And Martinez is out, number 2.
And I just saw an interesting stat that didn't really jump out until now. Anibal has 2 losses. Of course, he lost that game you just pointed out in Texas. His only other loss was in Texas. His second start of the season, he lost in Houston. So he's pitched much better at home, 3-0 at home, with a 2.92 ERA in his 8 home starts.
And of course, that loss to Ogando was his first loss since that Houston loss, April 22nd. Utley leaning in on that one. That almost clipped Utley, and it wasn't that far off the plate. It's 1-0. 3 hits in the series for Utley. Time! 32-year-old out of one of the great high schools for not only baseball players but also football players. Long Beach Poly.
They have a pretty good college too.
Yeah, Long Beach State, a great baseball program. Utley, of course, went to UCLA.
You're right about that. I remember growing up in Southern California, you always heard about Long Beach Poly and the athletes coming out of there.
Much like Florida, a very fertile ground is Southern California for baseball players. 1-2. Utley bangs it to left field. Back goes Morrison. He won't get it. Off the wall it goes, and Chase Utley is rolling. He's running very, very well for a guy that rehabbed a knee injury. Tommy, we've seen him since he's come back. He has stolen 6 bases. He's looked frisky on the bases at times. And his 7th double of the season.
Not a bad pitch, but he just goes with it with that good swing. You know, he's one of those left-handers. So many times we talk about the lefty with the real beautiful, fluid swing. That's not Chase Utley. He has kind of a short, choppy, compact swing, but it certainly gets the job done.
Well, the Marlins are going to walk Ryan Howard, and that was a pivotal play last night. Only first base wasn't open last night. Last night it was 1st and 3rd with Ibanez on deck. There were 2 outs. Volstad's numbers against Howard were not pretty, and his numbers against Ibanez were not pretty.
Well, think about it. Ibanez was hitting .450. It was almost like pick your poison. This is a little different situation because Ibanez, with his out the last time up, is 3 for 18 against Anibal Sanchez. And after that, Ibanez base hit, the floodgates open, tons of singles in that inning, and a tough night for Chris Volstad.
So John Buck out to talk to Sanchez, and here comes Ibanez. 3 for 5 last night. He drove in 4. Last year, the Philadelphia Phillies were beaten by the Giants in the National League Championship Series, had the oldest lineup and the oldest pitching staff in Major League Baseball. That same cast of characters back again this year. Of course, fortified in the rotation with Cliff Lee, minus Jason Worth in the lineup and in the outfield. Pete McCannon, Charlie Manuel, Rich Doobie on the bench for the Phillies.
You know, the thing about this situation and walking Howard, you still, now that you're Anibal Sanchez, you've got to make good pitches to Raul Ibanez, because you know, and we mentioned it last night, he's a veteran. He's not pleased that they're walking Howard to get to him.
At the knees, Sanchez gets a strike, and it's 2-1. Marlins' next opponent, Houston, is in Pittsburgh, where the Pirates have been rocking and rolling, and they've been filling that stadium in Pittsburgh. Isn't that great to see?
That is great to see, because it's such a beautiful ballpark.
And such a great sports town. 2-2. Pittsburgh leads Houston by a score of 1-0. Back the other day, Clint Hurdle, looking at him in the dugout, he started to resemble Danny Murtaugh.
Combination of Murtaugh and Chuck Tanner.
There you go. Pirates are 4 over and a game and a half behind St. Louis. 2-2 coming. Ibanez. Peterson in, now back, and it's over his head, and it goes to the wall. Utley will score. Howard will score. And for the second night in a row, Jack McKeon has walked Ryan Howard, only to be scorched by Raul Ibanez.
But this time was different. It should have been caught. Brian Peterson misplayed it. He underestimated the pop that Ibanez had. He came in. Now he adjusts and tries to go back. And after making a terrific play in the second inning on a ball that Ruiz hit, didn't get the read on this one, and it hurts.
4-0 Phillies. Mike Cameron in uniform. Cameron possibly in the lineup tomorrow night. Jay Happ, the former Philly, is scheduled to start tomorrow night for Houston. Here is Ruiz. Takes a fastball up. The Phillies have the best record in baseball, 55-32. But in their rearview mirror, the Atlanta Braves have been about 4 games behind them for the last couple of weeks. Here's the 1-0.
They can't really separate from the Braves because the Braves are staying right on their tail.
Braves at 51-36, 4 back. And Atlanta has scored first against Colorado in Atlanta. 3rd inning, 3-0. Atlanta on top of the Rockies. Atlanta right now is the wild card leader and has the second best record in the entire National League.
Yeah, they have a pretty good lead in the wild card race.
Chevy brings you the National League East standings. You see the Phillies 4-game lead. The Mets are playing hard and hitting the ball. They're 2 over.
The Nationals a game over 500.
And that's what makes the Marlins struggles so absolutely maddening right now. is that they're at the very basement looking up at the rest of the division by some distance.
And really not showing any improvement to gain any ground on anybody.
Ruiz hit the ball that Peterson ran down in left center field in the second. Two.
And all of a sudden, 55 pitches for Anibal Sanchez, and he's not through the third.
That's the hard thing to take in this game and in the game in Texas. Sanchez has kind of been the go-to guy for the Marlins when they've needed somebody to give them a good start. He, time in and time out, has done it. A guy that was under all-star consideration. But, of course, Texas jumped him for 7 runs in 3 2/3 innings. And the Phillies have 4 runs on 5 hits. And he's not through the third. Two. Hit him. Ruiz hit by a pitch. He was hit last night as well.
And we told you he gets hit a lot. That's number 8 on the year. You got a couple of guys, they're on top of the plate, Ruiz and Utley. That's why they do get hit often.
Now, that one came in on him, though.
Yeah, he couldn't get out of the way of that one. I'm not all that upset, though, if you know what I mean. I mean, you got a team that everybody in the lineup's hitting over 300 against you. You got guys swinging from their you-know-whats. Not all that bad.
That was old-school Tommy Hutton. That one is fouled back and out of play.
I'm surprised it hasn't come up, you know, it's taken this long. It's amazing to me.
Do you see it in the game at all anymore?
Not as much, no.
But do you see it in the game?
Some teams probably a little more.
Ball and a strike. One and 2 to Dominic Brown. Brown walked in front of the Mayberry home run. 2 big blows by the Phillies. The Mayberry 2-run homer and the 2-run double by Ibanez.
Boy, and this is where you start thinking you got 4 innings out of Chris Volstad last night. You're not sure how long Anibal Sanchez is going to go. And tomorrow night, Brad Hand starts against Houston.
And, of course, last night, the Marlins had to limp home with Brian Sanchez wearing it, as they say in the game. 3 innings worth and absorbing 6 runs, seeing his earned run average go from 3 up to 4. 2-2. Sanchez strikes out Dominic Brown. Again, after 2 are out, the Phillies rally for 2 runs in this inning, and it's 4-0. Run double. John Mayberry with a 2-run homer. And the Fish need some runs. They need something to go right. Last night, amidst the battering by the Phillies, one bright spot was a 2-run homer by John Buck. Cole Hamels had given up just 6 home runs going into the ball game. That's the 7th of the season. That was it against Hamels last night. Hey! 0-1 to Buck.
And the other thing, Rich, obviously the Phillies have put a beating on the Marlins, but if you just go back the last 16 home games for the Marlins against all the opponents, last 16 home games, the Marlins are 2-14.
It's a team right now that is 10 under at 38-48. 2-1 coming to Buck. Up the middle, popped off the mound. Utley makes the play. And we check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Hey, Rich, thank you very much. Major League Baseball put a little wrinkle into the home run derby this year, allowing the captains to pick the respective squads for the big contest coming up Monday night. And Prince Fielder's made his selections. Unfortunately, did not include the Marlins' Mike Stanton. He did select Matt Kemp in his 22 homers. Good pick. Took his teammate, Ricky Weeks, and he took Matt Holliday. 12 home runs. A couple of guys not selected. Berkman, Tulowitzki, Justin Upton had come out and said he would have loved to have been in it, being that the game was in Arizona, and his prowess, and of course Mike Stanton would have been a lot of fun. Guys, I'm not sure I like the idea of having the captain pick. I'm not sure that he has the wider interest here. Certainly Justin Upton would have added a nice local flavor to the game. And then you have a wider picture. Anybody who's watched Mike Stanton hit around the game knows how much excitement he brings with a swing of the bat to the ball. So I think they should reconsider that. But it's always fun, and it's coming up Monday night.
I think the one thing, just in looking at that list, that stands out, Mike Stanton's not an all-star. Everybody else on that list is.
And even though you don't have to be, I also, as I pointed out last night, I think we talked about it, I think Mike needs to establish himself a little bit until he gets that opportunity to participate.
What do you think about the captain selecting the participants in the home run derby? I think
it doesn't bother me. I do know that because I was listening to a little bit of an Oakland game today. Jamal Weeks is going to be there rooting on Ricky.
I'll tell you the one thing about that changes a little bit of the dynamics is Anibal Sanchez sends one into right field. That's a base hit. Is oftentimes when all-stars were asked to participate in the home run hitting contest, they would say no. There were guys that turned down opportunities to be in the home run.
Guys aren't going to turn down Big Papi.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to say no to Prince Fielder or Big Papi.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like that twist. Hey, it's just like the All-Star team. There's always going to be somebody that is going to be slighted, or this guy should have been in it.
Hey, there's a great column today by Tom Verducci on SI.com about just what an impossible job it is to not only select the all-star team, but for managers to manage the game. And he goes back to, I've been to one all-star game in my life, and I remember this. It was in Baltimore, and Mike Mussina had been selected by the Orioles, and Cito Gaston was managing for the American League. And I don't know if it was Dwayne Ward or who his closer was at that time, but he left his closer in to finish the game, and Oriole fans and Oriole officials were livid that Mussina didn't get into the game. Mussina was in the bullpen warming up.
It was probably Ward or Hankey. One of those two with Toronto, yeah.
Mussina was in the bullpen warming up, so the fans there thought, oh, he's coming in the game. No, he actually was getting up to get some work in because they figured end of the game he needs to throw. And Verducci points to that moment where all of a sudden there's pressure on the managers to get everybody in.
Well, and it goes back to a couple of things I read that Bruce Bochy was talking about. Hey, he's going to be biased. He said, I'm going to be biased with my players if I have an opportunity to pick them, and he did.
I think a manager's earned that right.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't here in 2004, but as I remember, Jack McKeon was pretty liberal with his choices. And I think there was a very good contingent of Marlins in 2004. Bonifacio takes down low.
Now, Rich Doobie seeing something that he didn't like, probably the base hit from the pitcher, Anibal Sanchez, and then a walk to the leadoff man. A little one-out rally. Now, remember, Infante stung the ball, had a single his last time up.
Whole question. Best sports town in the country. Is it Boston? Got a lot of Philly fans out there watching. Philadelphia certainly deserves consideration. Chicago, Detroit, New York. 789-789. Got the Phillies, got the Eagles, got the Flyers,
and the Sixers.
Sixers have been
actually had a pretty good year this year, though.
Yeah.
Until they ran into the Heat.
Here is Infante with Bonifacio at first. One out. The Marlins have something going. It's hard at times to pinpoint momentum in a game, especially a baseball game. But it sure felt like the momentum really changed in that first inning. Infante's pop-up to right is caught there by Mayberry. When the Marlins got 2 hits to start against Kyle Kendrick, Gabby Sanchez coming up, your number 3 hitter, and he dropped his bat down to bunt and popped it up to Ruiz, and then Hanley Ramirez bounced into a double play. And just like that, Kendrick in 6 pitches was out of the inning.
Yeah, momentum in a baseball game can change a few times because of the length of the game, and that certainly was an early momentum shifter there.
Gabby went around, and it's 0-1.
Now here's where you have to really stay under control. If in fact Gabby did that on his own. Now he's up there with a couple of men on. He's going to try to redeem himself. So he can't think 3-run homer. He has to think up the middle, one of those patented line drives. Like that.
Into right center field, base hit in the gap. Bonifacio is probably going to score now. It gets to the wall. Sanchez scores, Bonifacio scores, and Gabby ends up at third base. And the Marlins cut the lead in half.
Well, that's huge, and that's a great at bat. If you just go back to that first AB. He stayed right there. He didn't try to do too much. Didn't think 3-run homer. Got a hanging slider. Stayed back on it. Drilled it into right center.
Our Gunther Volkswagen drive of the game.
And then a misplay by Dominic Brown. He's going to be charged with an error, letting the ball get by him and go all the way to the wall.
Well, this would be a nice run to pick up here if the Marlins can do it with 2 outs. Gabby 90 feet away, and here's Hanley, who bounced into a 4-6-3 double play.
Why not just go deep and tie it?
By the way, Marlins All-Stars in 2004. Can you name them? I'll give you Miguel Cabrera and Mike Lowell. There were 2 others.
Dontrell?
Nope. Dontrell made the team in 03.
Derek Heath?
Nope. Beckett came from the truck. A guy whose name Jack could never pronounce.
Well, either Benitez or Encarnacion.
Benitez. Or Beniquez, as Jack would call him. And Carl Pavano. Kyle Kendrick with a ball and a strike on Hanley Ramirez. Gabby Sanchez at third. 1-1 pitch. In the dirt. 2-1. Two-one coming, and it's out. You got Morrison on deck. Marlins have broken through for two here. Let's see if Hanley gets something to hit on 3-1. Ground ball slowly hit. Rollins throws it away, and the run scores. Hanley may have beaten it anyways.
Yeah, I think he did. It was a do-or-die play for Jimmy Rollins. That's why he had the barehanded. High five for Gabby after his big base hit. Hanley should get a single and an RBI. The old swinging bunt. Martinez cuts in front of Rollins, the bare hand. And I think with Martinez running in front of Rollins, it wouldn't have made a difference in getting the out, but it may have made the difference in him throwing it away. No harm, though, because Hanley stayed at first.
It's a very similar ball that Hanley hit in Texas. Here's Logan Morrison. Stanton's on deck. Hanley's at first. And we'll see if he's there long. 14 stolen bases for Hanley. But the Marlins have put together 3 runs here in the bottom of the third.
I put that Texas play behind me, Rich. It's under review, by the way.
It is actually under review. See Ruiz set up inside. Runner goes, and Morrison smokes it. Foul. And it's 0-1. The play that we're talking about was the ball that Hanley hit that Elvis Andrus bobbled in a key moment. Hanley, from our vantage point and everybody else in the press box, looked like he was going to beat out. The Texas scorekeeper ruled it an error, much to the dismay of the Texas Riders.
Even the Texas media relations department upset at the call.
0-1 pitch. Every team, should they have a call similar to that, or a call that they don't agree with, can send the videotape to Major League Baseball, and there is a review process. That gentleman's not involved, but even he was upset, Tommy. Hanley is back.
A couple of times Kendrick has tried to move that fastball to Morrison, where he starts it just off the plate inside and gets it to come back on the inside corner.
Oh, 2. Slow tapper. Utley picks his hop and throws him out. But the Marlins pick up 3 runs on 3 hits and a Philadelphia error. And it's a 1-run game now. 4-3 ball game, 4th inning in Miami tonight. The Phillies have a 1-run lead. Pete McCann and Charlie Manuel pondering the AT&T trivia question. In 71, Mike Schmidt was drafted 30th overall. What Hall of Famer was selected with the 29th pick in 1971?
That's pretty good. Back-to-back Hall of Famers.
Pitcher or position player? Position player, we're told. That one is fouled out of play. So that's a second round back then. I don't think they had sandwich picks back then. That was a couple of expansions ago.
Could have been a Ricky Henderson.
I was thinking George Brett, but I think Brett, a high school player, may have been selected later. Ricky did not get to the big leagues until 79, so he was a little bit later. Swing and a miss for 78.
Don't have to tell you how important this inning is for Anibal Sanchez, and a good start to really fool Mayberry, the guy who took him deep, and strike him out.
There is Kyle Kendrick. All right, crack staff, give us, was he a National League star or an American League star? An American League star.
I think you may be onto something with Brett.
Well, I think of his contemporaries. Think of a Robin Yount.
Also a high school pick. Heck, Robin Yount was in the big leagues at 18.
Yeah, he was. Michael Jack Schmidt. Robin Yount, wasn't he part of that Tony La Russa trivia question of 18-year-old shortstops?
18-year-old shortstop.
In the big leagues. Sanchez strikes out Kendrick. So now he's got Rollins to deal with here in the top of the 4th inning. Stop by any Metro PCS store in Miami, Broward, or Palm Beach before July 10th. And register to win a trip for 2 to see the Marlins in San Diego. What a great ballpark, and obviously a great city. The 19th through the 21st. You get airfare, hotel, and tickets to 3 games. Don't wait. Stop by your local Metro PCS store today. Metro PCS, wireless for all.
I believe George Brett's brother, the late Ken Brett, was a first-round pick.
One-0 pitch is fouled at the plate. Pops that one foul and out of play. Rollins 1 for 2 in the game. He had 4 hits and scored 3 runs last night. Phillies have 2 big swings in this game. The Mayberry 2-run homer, the Ibanez 2-run double. 1-2 coming. Sanchez misses away. Buck tried to frame it, but it was out. And the 2-2 is down low.
The Phillies have done a much better job in this game compared to the game in Philly that Sanchez pitched well against them. They've done a much better job laying off the changeup.
There's a breaking ball.
Rich Ken Brett, first-round draft pick, 4th pick in the first round of the Boston Red Sox.
And was in the World Series, right? The 67 World Series?
Yeah, because he was drafted in 66.
And he was only at that time 19, I believe, in the World Series.
He came up, appeared just in 1 game during the regular season, but did appear in a couple of games. Pitched an inning and a third.
Rollins gets into one and hammers it to right. That's out of the ballpark. Quite literally through the tunnel in right field. 8th home run for Rollins. 5-3 Phillies.
Tough part about that, you had a chance to have a 1-2-3 inning, got some momentum going. We were talking about momentum last inning and how quickly it can change. And just like that, the Phillies put the momentum back on their side, getting a solo shot with 2 out off the bat of Jimmy Rollins, who, by the way, that is his 20th career home run against the Fish. All 5 runs for the Phillies tonight have come with 2 out.
Martinez pulls it foul. 0-2. You had touched upon Anibal Sanchez's pitch count in the 3rd inning. He's at 80 pitches right now with 2 outs in the 4th. And the Marlins desperately need him to at least get to the 6th inning in this ball game. Because as you pointed out, it's a Brad Hand start tomorrow night.
And he's averaged about 4 innings a start.
Counts full, 3-2. And he loses Michael Martinez. Now he has to face Chase Utley, who has 2 hits against him. Randy St. Clair on the horn. Be interesting to see who gets up.
And that's the struggle, and he's obviously not trying to walk these guys, but walking guys who he needs to go right after. Walking in the 2nd inning Dominic Brown to set up the 2-run shot of John Mayberry. And then walking Martinez here in the 4th inning with 2 out. Now he has to deal with Utley.
Looks like it's Mike Dunn. You saw Brian Sanchez in that shot. I'm sure the guys in the bullpens said, "Hey, Sanchez, it's for you." He may not be able to lift his right arm today after throwing a career high in pitches last night.
Yeah, well over 70 pitches. Yeah, that was a career high. He took it for the team. Wasn't pleasing to watch, but it certainly helps this game tonight.
So here's Utley. Doubled his last time up, and that was last inning. Singled in the 1st. Bonifacio over, and it's out of reach. 6. That will be out of reach in the new ballpark as well. The foul territory is pretty minuscule in the new ballpark, much like all the new parks that you see around baseball.
Probably even less than here.
Center field, well hit. Peterson got turned around, and he finds the ball and makes the catch. A Jimmy Rollins home run adds to the Phillies' lead. PCS. Get unlimited nationwide service for just $50 a month. Metro PCS, wireless for all. And by Sonic. Right now at Sonic, you can get your hands on 4 new premium beef hot dogs, now at just $1.99 each. Jimmy Rollins. 2 more hits for Rollins. He had 4 last night. His 8th homer of the season. Mike Stanton against Kyle Kendrick.
That's amazing, Rich, all the games these two teams have played against each other. Jimmy Rollins tonight playing in his 182nd game against the Marlins.
You put Rollins' numbers up there, Chipper Jones and his numbers up there. Even a guy like David Wright is starting to accumulate big numbers. Ryan Zimmerman. Utley.
Howard, of course.
Chipper Jones, by the way, has homered tonight. And Atlanta has a 5-0 lead over the Rockies in the bottom of the 4th. Stanton takes inside. It's 1-2. Brian Peterson, John Buck also scheduled for the 4th in a 5-3 ball game. Even Charlie Manuel today on Marlins Live was telling Craig Minervini that he loves watching Stanton hit. And the line drive that he hit last night was talked about by both ball clubs.
Appreciated by a former hitting coach.
Broke his bat. Martinez fires it across in time. Craig?
Yeah, you just mentioned Mike Stanton and Charlie Manuel. He lights up.
Absolutely unreal. It's kind of the way I used to hit the ball. No, I want to tell you guys something. I get excited to watch Stanton hit, and when he hits a ball like that, those are the kind of balls you talk about. Because that ball, he absolutely hit that ball. He moved the fence back about 15 or 20 feet.
And you can enjoy him when you're up by such a large. You can actually enjoy that moment.
I can enjoy it when we win, but like now, if that's going to hurt us in the game, in my mind, I'll always enjoy it, but I won't show it when we're getting beat.
Charlie loves a hitter, and he just loves watching Mike Stanton. He actually went over and met him yesterday for the first time, too. He was standing next to Heat center Zydrunas Ilgauskas.
That's good stuff, Craig, as Kendrick, this is outside. Charlie Manuel might be able to teach Ilgauskas to hit as good a hitting coach as he is.
All you have to do is ask guys like Jim Thome.
Yeah, Jim Thome, Manny Ramirez, some of those Indian hitters, guys that came up in the Cleveland organization in the late 80s, early 90s. Charlie was the manager coming up there and the hitting coach for the teams that he managed. And then he was on Mike Hargrove's staff. Ended up taking over for Mike Hargrove in Cleveland as the manager. All kinds of great Charlie Manuel stories. The one that I had not heard before about a month ago, reading a story about Charlie Manuel and Ted Williams in a restaurant having a conversation about hitting. That's a strike. Peterson thought it was up.
But twice, Brian Peterson, he's not really endearing himself to Doug Eddings, home plate umpire. Pitches 4 and 5. They're borderline, but they're strikes. But twice he's kind of turned and started to head to first. He better be swinging here.
Three-two. He is swinging. Bangs it in the gap. And Peterson around first. He's headed for second. Brian Peterson is fun to watch. Good, solid hitter. He has a very good idea of the strike zone. And when he puts a ball in a gap, Tommy, it's a double. He's that quick.
Well, he's hit 3 doubles since he's been called up. And you're right, left center gap, he's hit 2 into left center. This one he pulls into right center. It's our Checkers double of the game. And out of the box quickly. Good swing. They're shading him in the gap. That's why Brown was able to cut it off. But it didn't matter. Peterson gets to second base.
So in a game in which the Phillies jumped to a 4-0 lead, the Marlins cut it to a run. The Rollins homer made it 5-3. Now Peterson's at second. Buck is up. And he lines one to Howard at first.
John Buck has hit 2 balls. Remember the ball he hit last time? A one-hop shot up the middle, but it hit off the mound and caromed toward Utley for the out.
And the Marlins are going to take a shot right now. There's a run sitting out there, and Jack McKeon, rather than send Anibal Sanchez up there for what probably would be at 86 pitches in his last inning in the 5th, figures the gamble is worth it. Sanchez sits down in a 5-3 game, and a former Philly, Greg Dobbs, is coming up.
Yeah, a couple of tough outings back-to-back for Anibal Sanchez in Texas, and this one here tonight.
Dobbs, of course, a nice piece on the 2008 World Championship team for the Phillies. He had an outstanding year as a pinch hitter that year. Had a pinch hit last night. Kendrick misses inside. You got Bonifacio on deck. Danny Espinosa, who has to be considered for a Rookie of the Year, has homered tonight for Washington. 2-2. Nationals and Cubs in the 5th.
He's got a pretty good RBI total, too.
Dobbs flips it foul. Yeah, Espinosa has driven in 50 now. 16 home runs. I haven't seen the final vote tallies in the National League over the last couple of days. Has Mike Morse made up any ground? I know Shane Victorino right out of the gates had an early lead.
And it's a little dubious as to if Victorino will be ready for that game.
Rich dubious. 1-1. That came back over the plate, and Kendrick gets a strike.
It's a pitch he's tried a few times. He'll use that to the left-handers. Sometimes he'll try it on a right-hander, try to freeze a righty and get him to give up on it.
See what he gets. 1-2. That one came back, but you heard Doug Edding say he didn't think it came back enough.
That's some pretty good patience by Greg Dobbs. That stayed there.
Oh, that just missed.
Yeah.
That's a tough pitch to take.
It is. Really, with 2 strikes, a real tough one to take.
See what he gets. 2-2. Pulls it. Foul. You could see Ruiz really set up in, and that's where they're pitching Dobbs right now. Not many catchers manage a game better than Carlos Ruiz. You talk to Cliff Lee, Roy Halladay. Remember in the perfect game, Halladay said he may have shaken off Ruiz once or twice that night here in this ballpark. Dobbs bounced that one almost off the ground. Howard steps on the bag. And it's still a 5-3 game. AT&T trivia question. Who you going with? Have we named him yet?
I kind of like your George Brett ant. Yeah, it is.
There we go.
All right.
All right, I just voted on the final vote for Mike Morse, little South Florida love.
All right.
And Paul Konerko.
Well, I think we had, we're taking a little credit for Gio Gonzalez.
Hey, we
gave Gio a lot of love. I mean, he threw well, too.
We were pushing for him, and it's great to see him make the All-Star team. Mike Dunn comes in. Shane Victorino is still leading. There's 1 day left in the final vote. He has the lead over Andre Ethier, Todd Helton, Mike Morse, and Ian Kennedy. And although Victorino's out with a mild thumb sprain, and it will be determined if he's okay to go or go to the disabled list. So I think they do go to Bachelor number 2 if Bachelor number 1 is on the DL or at least can't play. Paul Konerko continues to lead in the American League.
And well, he should.
Victor Martinez second, Alex Gordon, then Adam Jones, and Ben Zobrist is last there.
It's been a busy few days for Mike Dunn. He went an inning and a third Sunday night in the Marlins 6-4 win in Texas. Pitched 2/3 of an inning against the Phillies in the July 4th game. Got to take a breather last night, and here he is out there again.
Howard liner through the shift. Hanley was over, and Fonte was over towards the right field line. And a big series for Ryan Howard continues. Singles to lead off the 5th. Look at the upcoming schedule brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Astros here Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then Sunday, an afternoon game. Just as we look forward to the upcoming schedule, you can live forward with Just for Men Hair Color.
And then we can all relax for a couple of days, sit back, watch the All-Star game. Hopefully Gabby Sanchez will get in the game.
Here is Ibanez now. And Dunn misses inside. So the Marlins are going to have to piece it together from here out in the bullpen. And obviously, Brian Sanchez is off limits. You pointed out that Dunn has worked a pretty heavy load lately. Edward Mujica as well.
And that's just a spin-off of the low number of innings you get from your starters. And in contrast, that's the whole difference in the Philly bullpen. When you have guys like Cliff Lee and Roy Halladay throwing complete games, going 8 innings, and Cole Hamels.
Well, hey, how about Vance Worley getting into the 7th? Even Kyle Kendrick has been pretty good this year.
Kendrick's last outing, 7 innings. So it does change the complexion of your bullpen when your starters go deeper.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. That's kind of a lonely job. The long man for the Philadelphia Phillies.
I don't think they have one.
Much like Earl Weaver's long man when they had that great rotation from the early 70s.
Back in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, you didn't have long men.
Or short men. You just had relievers.
Yeah, you just have relievers. You had starters that worked every 4 days. Some pitching staffs were comprised of sometimes 9 or 10.
Three-two coming. Ground ball. Gabby has it. Fires to short. Hanley returns in time. Nicely done. 3-6-3.
Gabby's done that nicely this year. Look at that, the all-star top on, the hat with the stars. The whole beginning of that play to get the 3-6-3 double play is not to rush the throw to second. Make the good throw, which he does, and then back to first with a good relay as Hanley. Got a little time with Ibanez, the runner, but well done by Gabby.
Look at that. Gabby with his 9th double play started at first base. Ruiz flied out and was hit by a pitch. And Dunn misses down low. So the Braves and the Phillies this weekend to finish off the first half. The Marlins and the Astros. Marlins open the second half in Chicago with a 4-game series against the Cubs. And right now Atlanta's up over Colorado 5-1. We told you Houston was down to Pittsburgh 1-0. That's changed quickly. Houston now up 5-1 in the bottom of the 6th. Milwaukee beat Arizona today 3-1. That one fouled back. Giovanni Gallardo is now 10-5. And it's significant in that Arizona loses. They've had an opportunity to pick up some ground on San Francisco, who's dropped 3 in a row, including a loss last night to the San Diego Padres. A big night for Cameron Maybin last night. Hanley down to a knee. Fires to first and gets Carlos Ruiz. To the bottom of the 5th, halfway through, Marlins down a couple. Subway 5th inning, 5-3 Philadelphia on top of the Fish. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine, John Solser, our producer, Jim Holly, our director, Ken Lee, our graphics coordinator. Bill Wadlick was recently announced as the alternate on the National League Foxbox All-Star team.
Kind of sitting in the wings waiting for an injury.
Carpal tunnel, it's common.
Yeah, blister.
Emilio Bonifacio, Omar Infante, Gabby Sanchez, top of the order against Kyle Kendrick.
Perhaps a sprained thumb like Victorino.
There's the 1-1. That's the part of the All-Star introductions you often don't see on television when they introduce the All-Star equipment manager, the All-Star traveling secretary, the All-Star chef from the clubhouse. Then you get into the trainers, strength and conditioning coaches. Mike Kozak and Sean Cunningham have both served as All-Star trainers.
They've each had opportunities to be an All-Star trainer.
It's Mike Kozak. 2-2.
I used to tell people in 76 and 77, as a member of the Phillies, with them going to postseason, they'd always, back then, they would just introduce the starting lineup. And I used to tell people, as Sean Cunningham looks on, that it was just a privilege to be known as "and the rest of the Philadelphia Phillies." That's when we'd all run in.
Bonifacio walks. Emilio Bonifacio has been on base all 3 times tonight. One single in the first, walked and scored in the third. And here he is at first base with nobody out in the 5th. Here is Infante, who has singled and popped out.
You almost feel with Bonifacio at first base to lead the inning off that he has a really good chance to score. And if you're able to get him in, all of a sudden you're back to a 1-run game.
Bonifacio does have a stolen base in this series.
We talked about the quick feet, too, of Kendrick to first, so you have to be careful.
He's up to 11 stolen bases. The bag he got was Monday night, and that was against Brian Schneider. Marlins were in no position to run last night. They were behind big early. Phillies jumped to a 7-0 lead last night. Bonifacio is running. Ruiz's throw is out. With a very quick tag by Chase Utley.
Boy, that's just a perfect throw by Carlos Ruiz. Philly fans here chanting "Chooch." Up and fires, just a perfect throw. Look at that boy throw. Right there for Utley. If the throw's anywhere else, Bonifacio has a stolen base.
And that's textbook for a middle infielder. Catch the ball right on the bag and go straight down with it. Don't reach for the ball.
And it's a part of the, you've talked a lot about the defense of the Phillies, and it's a part of why they have dominated this series. They make the plays. There's an opportunity right there. If they don't make that play, Marlins have a much better chance to score Bonifacio. First time he's been thrown out in a while.
Two and one. There's that fielding percentage. Best in the National League, best in the major leagues. The Reds, second best in the National League. The White Sox lead the American League. And now Kendrick has gone 3-1 on Infante. And Infante singles to left.
Second time Infante has got himself a base hit between short and third, right in that same area.
The Phillies have their bullpen up. David Herndon. Sanchez, remember, a pivotal at bat in the first after Bonifacio and Infante single. Gabby tried to bunt and popped it up for an out. And the inning quickly died. He did go, says Dana Dubuque. The inning quickly died when Hanley bounced into a 4-6-3 double play.
Boy, terrific numbers. Look at those numbers against Kendrick. And that's why we were all surprised when he tried to bunt.
In the third inning, he banged one into right field and went as an RBI single and a two-base error. Gabby ended up at third. 2 runs came across. Chopper towards Rollins to the bag. That's a terrific play by Jimmy Rollins. Knew he had the time, took it himself, and he guns out Gabby at first as he got the out at second. Phillies are great up the middle. Back in Miami tonight, Sun Life Stadium, just 35 more games in this enormous football stadium. Liner into left center field. Peterson racing over, trying to cut it off. He can't get it. It slides by him and racing around second. And on his way to third is Dominic Brown. Ryan Peterson experiencing some growing pains out in center field tonight.
He has had some tough plays. He made one nice catch. He misplayed a ball. This ball looked like he was doing the right thing, and that could be an example of that turf out there. He gets down. Watch how the ball bounces up. He gets down trying to knock it down, which is the right idea, but the ball comes up on him and gets by all the way to the wall. In the meantime, Brown gets to third base. Probably be a triple all the way.
It is. So Dunn now faces Mayberry. The Marlins are going to appeal. He's out. He missed second base. The Marlins appealed second, and Brown missed second, and he's not arguing. He must have been watching Peterson when he rounded second. Here comes Charlie Manuel.
And the good thing about that takes somebody, a Gabby Sanchez, an Infante, somebody in the infield to watch that. More than likely, I would say Gabby, because that's kind of your responsibility and your job as a first baseman.
Charlie Manuel doesn't give much of an argument. Here's another look, see if we can pick it up. Danley is right on it. And it doesn't look like he touched it.
A little stutter step, and he stepped over it.
And you can see where he was looking, Tommy. Watch his head.
He's looking out towards center, and he misses the bag there. Yeah, he didn't argue. Yeah, I mean, usually you'll see a player run out and give some kind of argument, but he knew.
Yeah, on a night where George Brett was the trivia answer, you usually get a George Brett reaction from the Pine Tar incident. Here's a overhead look.
Yeah, he misses, and that's a heads-up play by the Marlins to spot that.
Well, what a break for the Marlins.
So it goes as a single.
Right,
because in essence he didn't make it to second.
Yeah.
And the putout goes to the closest person there, so the putout goes to Hanley.
When's the last time you saw an appeal play on a guy missing a base work?
Can't remember, because more often than not the appeal play, no, he touched it.
I mean, I've seen it more recently where a guy leaves the base early.
That was
on
in the
a
World
tag
Series,
play.
wasn't it? Tim McClellan, third base umpire. But credit to Kerwin Danley. He was there. He saw it. He made the call.
You can see Kerwin Danley. The rotation is such that Danley's responsibility is second base. He's all over that. The third base umpire, Vic Carapazza, he followed the ball to left center, and the home plate umpire, Doug Eddings, rotates up the line in case there's a play at third base. You wonder if Brown thought to himself as he raced around second about stopping and going back.
Yeah, your thought as a runner, you're always thinking, maybe they didn't see it.
That ball is crushed. Left field. Gone. Second of the night for John Mayberry. He homered off Sanchez, a two-run shot in the second, and a solo shot here in the sixth.
So it's almost like the ghost of Vance Worley haunts the Marlins. It was because Worley was sent down to continue his work with space on the roster. Who did they bring up? John Mayberry. And he's in the lineup tonight with 2 home runs. That's his first career multi-homer game.
And both of the balls he's hit were not high, majestic homers. They were bolts to left that just got over that high left field wall. And it's 6-3, Phillies on top. Wilson Valdez. So Kyle Kendrick's night has come to an end. And Valdez fouls it off. It's the first Phillies run that didn't come with 2 outs. That one's hit well to left field. Morrison makes the catch. Two outs, and here comes Rollins. Well, the Marlins are going to get to Chicago to face the Cubs just when a couple of their guys are really heating up. Aramis Ramirez is homered tonight, his 14th.
You remember how long he went when he only had like a couple of home runs?
Carlos Pena is homered, his 18th.
He got off to a slow start.
Yeah, it's 4-4. Cubs at Nationals in the 6th.
Just what the Marlins needed to hear, Rich.
Houston has a 5-2 lead over Pittsburgh in the 7th. Houston is here tomorrow night. Phillies, I'm sure, happy when they look up at the scoreboard and see, I beg your pardon, they're probably hoping that Colorado can score some more runs. Colorado's on the board. It's 5-1 now, Atlanta. The Phillies would love to see the Rockies come back in that ball game. One fouled out of play. Cincinnati scored 5 runs in the top of the first against Jake Westbrook. And Albert Pujols is back in the lineup tonight. But the Reds have a 5-0 lead over the Cardinals, top of the 4th.
Pujols was injured on June 19th. And some were saying 4 to 6 weeks. And he's back in under a month.
0 for 1 tonight. Rollins pops it up. Back goes Gabby, over as Infante, and it's Infante who makes the catch. Mike Dunn gives up the solo homer to John Mayberry, and the Phillies stretch their lead. Getting.
Positioning reliever Clay Hensley to a potential return to the rotation for the Marlins. He was a starter with San Diego, but never has pitched as a starter with the Marlins. He did get a chance to come out here yesterday as he's rehabbing from that right shoulder injury and got a chance to get a bullpen under the direction of pitching coach Randy St. Clair. Last time out for Hensley, a few days back in the Gulf Coast League, he went 3 1/3, 45 pitches. They're going to rev that up to 60 pitches coming up on Friday in the Gulf Coast League, and then probably one more minor league outing. We'll run it up to 75 pitches, and then potentially he could pitch that July 18th game against the New York Mets, the makeup game, which will wrap up that first little trip, Chicago, and then one game in New York after the All-Star break. As a starter with San Diego, he was a 13-15, and the Padres won 21 of those 40 games that he started. Pitched pretty well. I think a solid year in 2006, and he did tell me he's very happy to maybe get a shot back starting with the Fish.
Hanley Ramirez in the center field hits that ball well. Mayberry over to get it. And Craig and Tommy, remember it was as a starter that Hensley made the Marlins ball club last spring training going into last year. As a starter, he came into camp and he pitched so well that the Marlins said, heck, we've got to find a place for him, and that's how he ended up as the 8th inning guy.
So when you think about it, that's really the last time the Marlins saw Hensley as a starter in spring training a couple of years ago. Another nice swing, by the way, from Hanley. Hanley with a couple of hits tonight, getting things started here in the 6th inning.
Well, the Marlins have had no shortage of base runners and no shortage of opportunities to score in this game. Remember, they had the first 2 runners aboard as Herndon misses. And it's 1-0. First 2 runners aboard in the first inning and did not score. They had the first 2 runners aboard in the 5th inning and did not score. Morrison waits. Herndon flips up a breaking ball for a strike.
Hanley, by the way, Rich, 10 for his last 25, 400 average.
Two and one. Morrison takes down low. David Herndon is 25. He was born in Panama City, Florida. Mosley High School, Gulf Coast Community College.
Throws a little harder than Kendrick, a little different movement on his fastball, mainly fastballs and sliders.
5th round draft pick of the Angels, Rule 5 draft by the Phillies last year. Spent the entire year with the Phillies last year. Morrison hits a high drive to left center. That's deep. That is gone. 2-run shot. And a 1-run game again.
Boy, what a blast off the bat of Logan Morrison, opposite field. That breaks an 0 for 10 in this series. This first hit of the series for Lobo. He made it count. He made it a big one. Home run number 12 on the year for Logan Morrison.
Here is Stanton. So the Marlins have climbed within a run for the second time tonight. And Stanton almost drills the security guy. There's a look at it.
Boy, stayed on it, didn't roll over, didn't try to pull that ball into right field. And it shows you the kind of power Logan Morrison has.
A dozen homers for Morrison. Stanton fouls it. It's 0-2. And of course, Morrison missed a good deal of time with that foot sprain. 12 homers, 16 doubles now for Lomo, and 36 RBIs. 0-2. Stanton swings and misses. Herndon strikes him out.
Where the book right now is when you get 2 strikes on Mike Stanton, don't throw a strike. You can go up out of the zone with a fastball. You can go out of the zone with a breaking ball. And we've seen Mike chase a lot of those.
Here comes Brian Peterson now. Marlins trying to salvage a game in this series against a team that has absolutely dominated them. This year, the Phillies have won 9 of 11. And of course, in this ballpark, 21 of the last 25. Marlins have actually played pretty well over the last couple of years up in Philadelphia. Peterson rips one into right field. He's got 2 hits tonight. Well, when he arrived, Jack McKeon with exactly what you want to hear as a ball player. You're going to play. I don't care if you go 0 for 4. I'm not going to bench you. And what did he say? He said, even if you go 4 for 4.
You go 4 for 4, don't expect an award. But he also prefaced it by saying, I know you've had some chances up here, but they really haven't been chances. You haven't had an opportunity to play a lot. They're talking about the matchups, Rich, with the Marlins and the Phillies. When you go back to 03, go back to 02, the Marlins won 10 out of 19. In 03, they won 13 out of 19. In 04, they won 12 games out of 19. So they own the Phillies a little bit in those years. But, boy, has that worm turned late. And it really turned last year because in 09 they were 9-9.
Dwayne Wise is on deck. That's the pitcher's spot. Marlins have already used Greg Dobbs as a pinch hitter. Buck has hit the ball hard twice. Then he fouls it at the plate. It's 0-1. David Herndon to the plate, and Buck fouls it off. Marlins already have had Bonifacio thrown out trying to steal.
good pitch right there for John Buck. The others were down and in a little bit. That one out over the plate. And a good cut, but fouled it straight back.
It's not been the best of years for Carlos Ruiz in throwing out base runners. He came into the ball game at just 21%. Last year, little looper out at a shallow center, and it's caught there by Mayberry. Peterson has to retreat. Last year was much better at 26%. Present your Miccosukee Ultimate Reward Player Club card at the stadium box office starting 2 hours prior to any Marlins home game. And you get a $10 discount on up to 8 infield box seats. Offer cannot be combined and is subject to availability. Miccosukee Resort and Gaming, get in the game.
Right now, the Marlins would love to see Dwayne Wise break out of things a little bit. He's 0 for his last 18. And he's not going to face David Herndon.
Charlie Manuel's going to his bullpen in a one-run game in the 6th. The Marooney called to the pen.
Car, truck or van. Who you gonna call? Marooney!
It would be a triple. Brian Peterson couldn't get it. Oh, wait a minute. Freeze it. Dominic Brown missed second base. Kerwin Danley, the second base umpire, was right there. The Marlins appealed the play, got the out. Brown did not argue because he knew he'd show up on the Coors Light freeze cam.
He'll show up on a few more highlights, too, probably.
Drew Carpenter
had a little time with the Phillies last year. Watching him warm up, looks like sinkers and sliders.
So Dwayne Wise will get the at-bat. Brian Peterson is at first. Logan Morrison with a 2-run homer here in the bottom of the 6th. And the Phillies, who have been on top throughout this ballgame, have their lead shaved down to 1. They were up 4-0. The Marlins made it 4-3. And 6-3 has become 6-5.
Was a good change up there. Carpenter had some terrific numbers at Lehigh Valley, their AAA ball club. 5-0 and a 1.58 ERA. 51 strikeouts and just 9 walks. A little over 45 innings.
With all the injuries that the Phillies have had in their bullpen, that'll get you promoted. Carpenter misses.
It's nice when you have guys that have compiled those kinds of numbers in the minor leagues that you can tap into.
And you know what, Tommy? He's another dirtbag. Long Beach State.
Boy, add another one to the list.
What is that, 15 in the big leagues?
I don't think he was on the list we had out the other day.
He's out of Vacaville. California, the same area that produced CC Sabathia. Second round draft pick by the Phillies in 06. Wise, little tapper. Utley charges and flips and gets him. Logan Morrison has brought the Marlins within a run for the second time tonight. His 12th of the season. Logan Morrison, a two-run homer. The seventh inning has arrived. Marlins have to go to their bullpen. They pinch hit for Mike Dunn. And so Randy Choate comes in with Martinez, Utley, Howard. And if anybody gets on, Raul Ibanez. So it's a perfect time to bring Choate in. $16,123 on hand.
Think about Randy Choate. We talked about it the other night, Rich. Against this ball club, you can bring him in because you're going to have at least two, maybe three lefties in a row. You start out with Martinez, a switch hitter, but then you have Utley, Howard, and Ibanez, and then Dominic Brown.
Anibal Sanchez, 4 innings in this start. And he's responsible for 5 runs tonight, 6 hits. Dunn gave up just the 1 run. It would have been 2 had Dominic Brown not missed second base. It would be a 2-run lead. The 1-1 pitch. Little chopper out towards Hanley. Loads up, fires the first in time. Of course, it's hard to recreate innings. And possibly with a runner at third and nobody out. Dunn pitches differently to John Mayberry than he would with nobody on base.
And possibly Mayberry has a different approach, a different swing. So, yeah, you're right. You really can't recreate that. Fun to talk about, but you can't do it.
Here's Utley now. A couple hits for him. Single and a double.
Monday night, Choate came in, struck out Utley, got Howard on a ground ball to second, deep second, and struck out Ibanez.
Well, he fouls that fastball off. And it counts 1 ball and 1 strike. One pitch, just missed.
Missed by much. Might have been a little low.
Pitch number 3.
Pretty close.
Two one. That's a strike.
They can't all be balls, Chase. See, he thought that's a strike. He thought that was a ball also, the way he glanced at the home plate umpire, Doug Eddings. Nowadays, though, watch the way you glance at an umpire.
I think everybody has calmed down since Monday night.
Yeah, I think so.
2-2.
You know, everybody calm down the next night. That's the way you play this game. You know, the next night's a whole new game, different day.
The count has gone full on the Phillies' second baseman. 5-time All-Star Chase Utley. And were he healthy this year, to start the year, he'd probably be a 6-time All-Star. Couple of ground balls Hanley's way to open up the 7th inning for the Phillies. Marlins have a watch party on Tuesday night, All-Star night, at Duffy's Sports Grill in North Miami Beach. Billy and the Mermaids will be there, win tickets, autograph items, enjoy great food and drink specials at Duffy's Sports Grill for the All-Star Watch Party. Brian Howard is 1 for 2. And once again, for the second night in a row, an intentional walk of Howard has led to a big hit by Raul Ibanez. This time it was in the 3rd inning. With a runner at second and 2 outs, Marlins walked Howard. Ibanez hit a liner to left center that Ryan Peterson broke in on and then tried to go back, and the ball was just over his glove. And Ibanez ended up with a 2-run double.
Yeah, look at those career numbers. Howard against Randy Choate.
Ground ball. Gabby has it. He'll gather it in and get to the bag himself. And Randy Choate does exactly what the Marlins needed him to do. He comes in and gets the lefties. tonight. Toyota Trend. The Phillies are 13-1 on Wednesdays.
I always wondered, Rich, if there's any kind of logic or what you could read into those, and they have it in everybody's notes as far as what they are on each day of the week. I think maybe Sunday, a day game all the time, that might have a little more bearing.
I think the day game period is a good indication of a team that maybe celebrates their wins the night before.
A little too much, perhaps, in some cases.
Bonifacio's been on base every time up. You know, the Marlins need him on here in the bottom of the 7th. He's walked twice and he has a bunt single. Has scored a run, was caught stealing. As Tommy pointed out, the hit streak is now at 9. He's hitting .352. Drew Carpenter misses, and it's 1-1.
Bonnie has that uniform just the way he likes it. When you were a kid, you didn't feel like you really had a successful day unless you came home and you looked like that.
1-2 is down low, and it's 2-2. Joe Mauer likely to start at first base tomorrow, the Minnesota Twins. Red Sox put John Lester on the disabled list with a strained lat. That pitch is in the dirt. Bonifacio's worked the count full at 3-2. Jose Reyes is still not running yet, so his All-Star game appearance is up in the air.
Ryan Braun with a calf strain has missed 3 or 4 games too.
And Bonifacio, who had worked a great at bat, ends up going out of the zone and striking out.
Yeah, he's done so well over the last month or so in working good counts, staying away from bad pitches. And wow, he chases a fastball, ball 4, way out of the zone.
Infante, that's a fair ball, his 3rd hit of the night, and he's racing for second. He's thinking about 3, and he's going for it. Omar Infante with a triple.
Well, that's good instincts there by Infante. It's great when you see a player who has the play in front of him, and he did, hitting that ball down the right field line. He realized it was going to take Brown a little bit of time to get over there for it. He goes hard right out of the box. Right here, he's not thinking 2. This is a great lesson for youngsters. Don't just think double, think triple until you have to put the brakes on. He turns it on, just gets in ahead of the throw.
So the Phillies infields up the middle, back. Corners are in. And Gabby Sanchez, if he can put it in play up the middle, the Marlins will tie the game. You got Infante at 3rd. Carpenter rides it in, and it's 2-0. 12 of 23 is Gabby at driving a runner in this spot. Outfield straight up and deep. 2-0. Good breaking ball.
Gabby's, yeah, and that's really not what you think you're going to get 2-0. Gabby has to have that same thought that he had back in the 3rd inning. Remember how he stayed back on a breaking ball and drove it into right center.
3rd pitcher to work for the Phillies. Kyle Kendrick, the first 5. David Herndon, and now Drew Carpenter. And Carpenter stays soft to Gabby on 2-1. Hanley Ramirez is on deck.
And right now it's all Carpenter, no action in the Philly bullpen.
Three-1. He went.
And that's something that we didn't see Gabby do very much of early in the year. Just a little over anxious. And he went.
So now the 3-2. He really hadn't seen a fastball. He got one there, and it's inside. Now here comes Hanley Ramirez in a big moment in the bottom of the 7th. On a night where the Marlins have had ample opportunities to score runs. They have 5, but they've not led in this ballgame. The Phillies jumped them for a 4-0 lead.
The Marlins have had base runners, Rich, every inning except the 2nd inning. Hanley does have that infield RBI single and then ripped the base hit in the 6th.
Infield is back for 2. Carpenter misses in. Those are the last 7 games. Infante a 1-out triple. Gabby Sanchez took a 3-2 pitch in. He's at first. Hanley drives it into center field. The Marlins have tied it. And it's 6-6.
Boy, we've seen Hanley start to really settle in. Last 2 shots he's hit have been just that. Shots into center and hit on the nose. This year, Rich, and we've talked about this with a number of hitters, Hanley is 9 out of 13 scoring a runner from 3rd less than 2 out.
Rich Doobie talking to his young reliever, Drew Carpenter. Now you got Logan Morrison up there. Morrison had been 0 for 10 in this series until the 6th when he faced David Herndon. He got a pitch up and out, and he hit it out to left field over the Miccosukee sign.
Yeah, pitch got tailed out a little bit away, and that's where Lomo took it. Just over John Buck's favorite sign, the Miccosukee sign. He's going to see a little different stuff here. We've seen a pretty good changeup from Carpenter.
Drills it into center field. That's well hit, and it's off the glove of Mayberry. Gabby hustling to 3rd, and he gets there. And the Marlins get a break. Mayberry diving. That might be a base hit because he did leave his feet.
That ball was stung as well, had some sink to it. Tough play. He was there. It was catchable, and it is going to be an error charged to Mayberry. Yeah, he's there. Doesn't have to shoestring it. Off his glove and heads up by Gabby Sanchez. Gabby, of course, starts to go, okay, now he has to go back, and then he sees that it's dropped. So back and forth with Gabby Sanchez. He made it to 3rd.
Stanton with the bases loaded. It is an error. If Stanton takes inside, it's 1-0. Mike is 0 for 3 tonight. He has struck out twice and bounced to 3rd. Wow, Now Carpenter left a breaking ball over the plate, and Stanton flat out missed it.
What contact is essential in this at bat. Contact and patience.
Gabby Sanchez, Hanley Ramirez, Logan Morrison. The Marlins have finally tied this ball game, and now they have a great chance to take the lead. 2-1. Jack McKeon talking to John Buck. See if Stanton gets a good one here. 3-1. Fastball broken back, ground ball. Martinez gets one. The relay is in time. Wow! The Phillies turn the double play. Utley, even though it was a hard slide by Morrison, made the relay. And the Marlins will have to settle for a tie. Hanley Ramirez with a base hit to tie the game, but the Marlins had an opportunity. A 3-1 pitch to Stanton.
There's a rule of thumb, Rich, and you hope that Mike Stanton learns a lesson from this. It's a hard lesson to learn, a chance to put his ball club ahead. But when you get a 3-1 pitch, let it fly. You're going to get a fastball. If you pull it into the seats down the left field line, so be it. Get the bat head out and hit it hard. You should not get jammed on a 3-1 pitch.
So a 6-6 game. And since the Phillies still have some lefties in their lineup, Randy Choate, who retired Michael Martinez, the switch hitter, and then lefties Chase Utley and Ryan Howard, gets Ibanez. Infante backhands, bounces, got him! Omar Infante! Man, has he played Gold Glove defense all year long.
And just think about it. He just finished running out a triple. Now he has to go up the middle. A little stumble almost, but then he one-hops it on purpose. That was by design, just to get Ibanez.
Jack McKeon has come to the mound. Randy Choate retires all 4 that he's faced. And the Marlins are hopeful that Steve Cishek can get some outs now. In a 6-6 game in the 8th. Here's our Marooney called to the pen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call?
Jack McKeon working the lineup card there. Brandon Hyde, his bench coach. Randy St. Clair, the pitching coach. Steve Cishek, whom Jack has not hesitated to use in tight moments, comes in here in the 8th. Faces Carlos Ruiz, and he misses down low with a fastball.
Now, the last time we saw Cishek was in that win, that 9-5 win in Texas. He went to 2 2/3 innings.
Ruiz fouls it back, and it's a ball and a strike. 6 runs, 9 hits for the Phillies. 6 runs, 12 hits for the Fish. Michael Stutz, who has pitched so well out of the Phillies bullpen. Ground ball out to Infante. Gathers it in, fires to first. And he's handled both chances here in the 8th. Now Cishek has to get out a left-hander in Dominic Brown. Marlins have left 6 on base. The Phillies have left 4. And the Marlins have hit into 3 double plays tonight. And they all have killed innings. The 1st, the 5th, and the 7th. Pulled foul, and it's 0-2. Ball and 2 strikes now. Brown, of course, hit the ball into left center that got by the skidding Peterson. It looked like a triple, but he ended up missing second base. The Marlins appealed, and he was called out. Mayberry, the next hitter, then homered. Infante to his left, and he gets all 3 balls here in the 8th, and the Marlins, in the bottom of the 8th, come to bat in a 6-6 game. Tonight, best sports town in the country. Chicago has made a little headway, but Philadelphia is still on top. 789-789.
That's good. I have no argument there, having spent six years there. Great sports town. You mentioned the good numbers, Rich, of Michael Stutz. A live fastball, sharp slider. Opponents hitting just 172 against him.
Bottom third of the order. Brian Peterson, John Buck, pitcher spot. Marlins have already burned a couple of left-handed bats off the bench, and Greg Dobbs and Dwayne Wise. And here is Peterson, who was 2 for 3, another double, a single. He takes a strike.
Well, since joining the ball club, 6 for 18 now is Brian Peterson.
With 3 doubles. Taps it towards third. Martinez. So an out here in the 8th, and here comes John Buck. So you're into the back of the bullpens now. Stutz is kind of the de facto setup guy with the injuries, all the injuries that you've seen for the Phillies this year, from Contreras to Lynch to Madsen. And the back of the Marlins bullpen is up, and that's Leo Nunez.
There's that live fastball from Stutz.
He's not a big guy, but boy, can he break.
Yeah, that has some life. 95, a little movement.
Stutz out of Lake Oswego High School, and of course an Oregon State Beaver. Mike Cameron on deck. Ooh, boy. Buck may have gotten a break on a nasty breaking ball. With just down. And he elevates a fastball, and the count now 2-2. Buck is lined out, bounced out, and flied out. Stays alive. 2-2. Nine home runs this season. He's driven in 31, and of course his 2-run homer, about the only highlight offensively for the Marlins last night. Two coming. That's in.
Interesting, only 3 other catchers in the National League with more home runs than John Buck. Brian McCann, Chris Iannetta, the Rockies, and Miguel Montero.
He's worked the count to 3-2. Fastball banged into center field. That's a base hit.
That's a base hit. That's also a good at bat by John Buck. He took a close pitch. He had some good swings. He fouled off some tough pitches. Gets that high heat and jumps on it.
Well, this is going to be a tough at bat for Mike Cameron now. A guy that didn't get a lot of at bats with Boston. Has kind of been waiting since he was designated for assignment at his home in Atlanta. Has been watching the Marlins the last few nights. He knew that the Marlins were interested, so he became interested in the Marlins. And now here he is facing a hard-throwing right-hander.
As you like to call it, Rich, this is not a soft landing.
No, it isn't.
For Mike Cameron.
Brett Hayes pinch running. And so Hayes is in the game. Has not done a whole lot of pinch hitting in his career. up until 2000. That one scoots away, and Hayes has to hold first. Up until the injury-filled year last year for Cameron, he was an everyday player. Whether he was in Milwaukee, where he was in 08 or 09, the year in San Diego, his years with the Mets.
His 99 season with Jack McKeon in Cincinnati.
That one is thrown away, and Hayes has a shot at third base. Round second, he's going to try it, and he gets there.
Wow. That's one of those uncalled for moves if you're a pitcher. Brett Hayes isn't going to steal. There's no reason to try to make a perfect throw and a quick throw over to first base. Hayes can fall back to the bag. He had about a step lead. And Stutz throws it away. So the Marlins get a break, an opportunity now to capitalize.
Now the infield is in. And Cameron waits on a 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball is outside. It's 2-0.
It's actually showed pretty good patience on the two breaking balls.
See if he gets a fastball here. 2-0. Breaking ball, popped it up, fouling out of play. Now it's 2-1.
It's a little respect, I think, from Stutz. Throw a 2-0 breaking ball to the 38-year-old veteran.
You're right. He played for Jack McKeon in Cincinnati. Fastball strike. Stutz came in with a heat. 2-2.
Mike Cameron's always liked the ball a little bit out away more than in that area.
Cameron steps out. Hayes is at third. The infield's in. One out in the bottom of the eighth. .94 on the fastball. So he started him out with 3 straight sliders. Now he's turned to the fastball.
And as a hitter in this situation with the runner at third, less than 2 out, you just have to be alive for either. Be ready for the heat. Hope he hangs the breaking ball.
Fastball down low. Cameron lays off it. And it's 3-2. Now what does he get?
Either.
Stutz is ready. Here comes the 3-2. Fastball popped him up. Howard has room and squeezes it. And Mike Cameron pops out. Bonifacio now.
That's a pitch if it's a little more out over the plate. You saw he tried to come back in there again. Remember, he had that one called strike on the fastball then. If it's a little out over the plate, Cameron has a better swing. Now you have pressure on the infield because any ball chopped on the infield, you got to be alive for a bunt with Bonifacio up there.
And of course, you've got a much more athletic runner at third. John Buck does not go from first to third on that failed pickoff throw.
2 innings in a row now, man at third. Of course, bases loaded last time, less than 2 out. The Mike Stanton double play and the pop fly.
Breaking ball is in to Bonifacio, who has walked twice and has a bunt base hit. And boy, Martinez is a good 10 feet on the grass at third. Howard is fairly deep at first. That's just high heat.
Yeah, body's not going to catch up to that one.
That was right down the middle. One and two. Hayes an agonizing 90 feet. Just got a piece of it. And it stays at 1 and 2.
Yeah, you see Ruiz, he was frustrated. He didn't hang on.
Jack McKeon trying to bring home at least one win in this series. Phillies have won the first two. Stutz in the dirt, and Ruiz smothers it. He's so good at that. He is one of the smallest catchers in all of baseball, and yet he gets so big in a situation like this.
Yeah, he gets low to the ground and just smothers that ball. Makes a great play. One of the best at doing that.
Two. Well, the Marlins are certainly making Stutz work. It was a deep at bat by Cameron. And it's 2-2 now to Bonifacio.
Well, he's thrown 22 pitches. And remember, the last time up from Bonifacio, Carpenter got him to chase that fastball away for strike 3 after he had put together a really nice at bat.
Brett Hayes at third. 2 outs in the 8th. Stutz, the 2-2. Got him. High heat. Threw it by him. And the Marlins leave the go-ahead run at third base. To the 9th. Still 6-6. Six ball game. Jack McKeon and Charlie Manuel all matched up here. Brett Hayes stays in the ball game, and he's behind the plate, and Leo Nunez takes over. Now, since Mike Dunn left, Randy Choate and Steve Cishek combined for 2 scoreless innings, and so it's Nunez's job to deliver this game to the bottom of the 9th, still 6-6.
And you want to deliver it to Infante, Sanchez, and Ramirez.
As well, You want to try to deliver it without getting to Utley, Howard, and Ibanez.
Boy, how many times have we said that in certain situations? You've got the number 8 hitter, then a pinch hitter, but then it's back to the top of that Philly lineup.
Mayberry has acted like a middle-of-the-order hitter in this one, as he's homered twice to left. 2-run shot in the second. That was off Anibal Sanchez. And then Mike Dunn gave up a solo shot, first multi-homer game in Mayberry's career.
Got a couple of fastballs. He's hit them both very similar. They've each just kind of snuck over that high wall in left field.
Infante. A lot of action for Omar Infante. He's had the last 4 balls hit to him.
Yeah, how about that?
Pitcher spot. That's a pinch hitting appearance. Ross Claude, Danny Baez, and Antonio Bastardo in the bullpen.
Right now, Bastardo has been the closer, so you would expect if it remains a tie, we'd see Baez.
Ross Claude has one of the great game faces in all of baseball.
Well, he even has a game face when he's in the clubhouse playing cards.
I know. Or walking on the plane or checking into the hotel. He has that game face on all the time. High pop-up. Hanley Ramirez calling for it. And he makes the catch. Nunez 2 quick outs, which is important, I think, Tommy. If Nunez can get 2 quick outs, that means if the Marlins don't score in the 9th, Jack McKeon can use him in the 10th.
If he gets the 3rd quick out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If he can finish here quickly, then you can think about that.
That was one of the little problems that Anibal Sanchez had tonight. Was getting a couple of outs and then having trouble putting the inning away, and the Phillies would score.
So Rollins, who's homered and single, takes a fastball up. The Nationals win again, 5-4. They beat the Cubs. We showed you the Chevy standings in the East and how the Marlins not only are in the cellar, but looking up at 4 teams with winning records. Washington is now 2 games over 500 at 45-43. The Mets tonight are in Los Angeles to take on the Dodgers. The Mets have won 3 in a row. The Dodgers have lost 4 straight.
Mets got a nice outing from Big Mike Pelfrey last night in L.A.
Of course, we've told you that Atlanta has been having a big night against Colorado. Rollins fouls it back.
How about Jimmy getting the green light, 3-0?
Chipper Jones and Dan Uggla have homered. Uggla's 14th.
Ugg's putting on a little pre-All-Star spurt. He had a couple of hits and a home run last night, 2 hits, a home run tonight.
3-1 to Rollins. And Nunez lost him.
And now you put a guy on base who's only been caught stealing once against a guy who doesn't have a good move to first base and is slow to the plate. Not a good combination.
Switch hitter Martinez is up, and Rollins dives back in. Got a different catcher back there in Brett Hayes. Probably a little better throwing catcher for the Marlins. But you got a guy at the plate that probably isn't going to hit the ball out of the ballpark against you in Martinez. Now the guy on deck and the guy following him, those are completely different stories. And Nunez goes 1-0 to Martinez.
And why would he, starting with a changeup, I have no idea. Just go after the guys. You just said he's not going to hit a home run. You don't want to have to face the guy on deck.
Rollins is running. It's a pitch out. Hayes' throw is not in time.
And now you really take the chance because of the pitch out. 1-0. Now it's 2-0 to Martinez.
Hayes didn't have a good grip. Rollins got a huge jump anyways.
A lot of pitchers, it's like they think because of a pitch out, they're going to pitch out. You still have to make a quick move to the plate. And Rollins got too big of a jump on a pitch out.
And it's 3-0 on Michael Martinez. A 5-pitch walk to Rollins. He's 3-0 on Martinez. A strike, and maybe a fortunate strike. It's 3-1.
Hey, very fortunate.
Great speed at second. 3-1 coming. He walks Michael Martinez, and as a consolation prize, he gets to face 5-time All-Star Chase Utley.
Well, we pointed it out at the beginning. You got a couple of quick outs. Now there's no way if you go to the 10th inning that you can bring back Nunez because he's thrown a lot of pitches. And the main thing at the beginning of this inning was not to have to get to these guys because you knew if you got to these guys, men would be on base.
These guys being Chase Utley, Ryan Howard's behind him, and if the inning progresses, then you've got Ibanez. There are the career numbers though for Utley against Nunez.
We're on a familiar basis though with the Phillies. We can call them these guys.
Yeah, you're right about that, and these Phillies have been terrific, winning 4 consecutive National League East titles. One and 0 to Utley. Nunez trying to get through the ninth. His 1-0 pitch. Right down the middle. 1-1.
Utley's a tough guy to defend too.
Boy, look at all the runners the Marlins have had in scoring position tonight. In the air and towards the line, and Morrison is over. He is there, and Nunez wriggles out of the top of the ninth. To the bottom of the ninth we go in Miami tonight. A 6-6 game. Florida brought to you by Marooney. South Florida, when you need a car, truck, or van, who you going to call? 1-877-Marooney. By Coventry Healthcare of Florida, lighting the way for better health. By the all-new Chevy Cruze. See your local Chevrolet dealer today. And by Subway. Eat fresh. 6-6 ball game. The top of the ninth. Not an easy road for Leo Nunez. And now Danny Baez comes in. And the Marlins have their 2, 3, 4 hitters up. Omar Infante 3 for 4 tonight. Knee-high strike 0-1.
They have some guys up this inning that have swung the bat well tonight, too. Infante with 3 hits. Gabby has a base hit. Hanley has 3 hits. They'll see fastball, a curveball, and if he gets ahead, Baez likes to use his splitter. There it is.
Oh, and 2 quickly. Remember, Infante tripled in the 7th. Came home on the Hanley RBI single. Swing and a miss. Ruiz picks it up, tags him out. So Baez, with the off-speed pitch, gets the first out of the bottom of the ninth. Here comes Gabby Sanchez. Baez well-traveled and very good in his career. So good that as a middle reliever, he made the All-Star team. That's back when he was a Tampa Bay Ray. That's back when the Rays were not very good, 2005. He was good, though. His ERA was under 3.
Got a little herky-jerkiness with the delivery. You can see all the games this veteran has been in. And the one thing he has shown, if you're in the on-deck circle, you're on the bench, you've seen all his pitches. You've seen the fastball, he threw curveball, you've seen the split. Boy, I think Gabby got a break on that pitch. Home plate umpire Doug Eddings, you could hear him say outside, but it wasn't.
Baez from Cuba. Defected to Costa Rica.
Still has some pretty good heat, too.
Two count. Baez to the plate. And Sanchez fouls it back. The Phillies in this ball game jumped to a 4-0 lead. And for the Marlins, you see Edward Mujica in the bullpen. I'm sure flashbacks to last night in a 14-2 drubbing. But the Marlins came back. They got within 1 with 3 in the 3rd. Then the Phillies stretched it to 6-3. Again, the Marlins came back. 2-2 is up. Logan Morrison with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 6th. Hanley Ramirez with an RBI single in the bottom of the 7th. The Marlins had a great opportunity in the 8th. Michael Stutz got out of it. Baez catches the inside corner, and down goes Gabby Sanchez. Boy, he's come in and punched out Infante and Gabby Sanchez.
It looked like that split had some movement, just caught the inner part of the plate. No argument from Gabby. He knew it. Some good pitches from Baez.
One of the most impressive things about the Philadelphia Phillies this year has been the depth of their rotation. Yeah, they've got the big 3 or 4 if you include Oswalt. But Vance Worley's been outstanding. Kendrick's been good. And the depth of their bullpen. I mean, it's one thing when you lose one closer. But when you're already replacing Lidge when the season starts. Then Contreras goes down. And then Madsen, who fills in so well, he goes down. That means everybody not only shifts one spot, everybody shifts 2 or 3 spots. And you got guys coming up from AAA like Carpenter. You got Stutz, who all of a sudden is a very good 8th inning guy.
That's why I really believe when they get those guys back, the Madsens and Contrerases, then their bullpen's going to be solid because they're going to have guys that are being used now in the 8th and 9th inning. They can use those guys in the 6th and 7th innings.
The Phillies as a team have an ERA hovering right around 3. Hanley hits a sharp ground ball. Martinez backing up, whips it across in time. Extra innings in Miami tonight. The Phillies and the Marlins, 6-6. Time for the Home Depot doing more on defense. Oh, Omar Infante for you. Continues his Gold Glove caliber play at second for the Fish. Well, the Marlins have burned their closer now. Nunez worked a scoreless, albeit nerve-wracking ninth. And so Edward Mujica comes on. And you'd like to say, hey, Mujica can come on and he can work multiple innings. But his spot is due up 5th in the 10th. So
yeah, about the only guy you have left down there right now is Burke Badenhop. Because remember all the pitches. 3 innings from Brian Sanchez last night to take one for the team. He threw over 70 pitches. I doubt he is available.
Check swing. Ryan Howard didn't mean to. And it's 0-1. Howard, Raul Ibanez, and Carlos Ruiz. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine are all set for Marlins Live. Locked, loaded, ready to go. To center and deep. Peterson to the wall. Got it! Kind of a half jump. He was feeling for the wall as he was bracing for a hit. And the ball got to him before he got to the wall.
Yeah, you can just see that until Brian Peterson gets a little more comfortable in this ballpark, of course, he has that one little area where it jets out, and he got there. A little feel for it, but a well-timed leap and to pull it down. So a long drive, a little scare from Ryan Howard.
Now Ibanez. Ibanez, the 2-run double, came back in the 3rd inning. He had a lot of ground balls since then. This one's in the air, and it's to left. Morrison wanders over, and he makes the catch. So Mujica has a couple of quick outs on just 4 pitches. Here comes Carlos Ruiz. What a wild game it's turned into in St. Louis, where Albert Pujols just knocked in a run, and the Cardinals, who were down at one point 8-0, have made it 8-7 with 5 runs in the bottom of the 7th. Big night for Daniel Descalso. 3 hits and 3 RBIs, playing third base for the Cardinals. Ruiz 0 for 3. Chopper, and it's wide of third.
Get a chance we start watching other players with interleague over now, but Alexio Gondo with another strong game, and I believe, I'm looking at the Rangers box score, Michael Young with 3 hits. He's had 3 consecutive 3-hit games since the Marlins left town. Didn't have a big series against the Marlins, but he's been on fire since.
Ruiz here with nobody aboard and 2 outs in the 10th. Takes a fastball up. One of the most painful losses for the Marlins last year was in 10 innings against the Phillies in this ballpark, and Carlos Ruiz won it with a home run. That was the infamous Bob Davidson game, in which Gabby Sanchez and everybody else thought he had ended the game. In the bottom of the 9th, the Phillies survived to the 10th, and Ruiz blasted one out to left. Drives this one to left. Morrison, shy of the track, makes the catch. Edward Mujica, 1-2-3, 10th. The Marlins have Logan Morrison, Mike Stanton, and Brian Peterson coming up.
By the fans, and going there and being in the locker room and being on the field with some of those guys. I remember growing up as a kid, watching guys like Derek Jeter play, and other guys like that, and then finally getting the moment, and then of course finally, lucky for me, a year before that I got to meet President Obama, but having him come into the locker room in St. Louis, that was a pretty very big moment for me.
What's your favorite All-Star moment? Cast your vote to decide at MLB.com/moments and watch the MLB All-Star Game Tuesday, July 12th on Fox.
6-6 ball game, bottom of the 10th. Marlins and Phillies. The Marlins have not led in this ball game. They didn't sniff the lead last night. They lost 1-0 on Monday night. So in, what, 27 innings of baseball in this series, the Marlins have not had a lead.
Be a good time to get one right here.
Baez misses low. Logan Morrison homered a 2-run shot in the 6th. Ball in the dirt. Checked his swing. And he's gone to 3-0. This is a tough pitch to hit out.
It's a pitch that if you jump out in front, you're not going to hit it well. If you stay back the way Logan Morrison did and then drive it the way he did the other way, you're going to have much better success.
3-0 coming from Baez.
See if he gets another fastball. 3-1.
Baez with the fork ball was tough to hit in the 9th. He worked a 1-2-3 9th, and he struck out both Infante and Gabby Sanchez. Got a breaking ball, and he bounces it out to Utley. So there's an out, and here comes Mike Stanton. One of the biggest at-bats of the ball game came in the 7th. Mike Stanton was up. The Marlins had tied the game. The bases were loaded. And Mike Stanton had a 3-1 pitch to hit. He got jammed, shattered his bat, and ended up bouncing into a 5-4-3 double play. Ball and a strike. Two and one. Baez into his 2nd inning in relief. Stanton, liner, deep, ball game, in a hurry. Marlins win it. A walk-off shot. Mike Stanton and the Marlins finally beat the Phillies.
Boy, that ball got out of here in a hurry. That was one of those laser shots that he hit last night to the triple. This one, I don't think we were sure it was going to get out, if it was going to be high enough, but it got out quickly. It was a hanger, and Big Mike took care of it.
Team that was in desperate need of a pick-me-up. The Marlins just got one from the powerful bat of Mike Stanton.
I'll tell you what, Rich, after the month of June, after the way this series has gone, that's a great sight to see.
That is the first and only lead the Marlins have had in this series. Mike Stanton with a walk-off shot, and he joins us now. Michael, congratulations. a great feeling and a big pick-me-up for your ball club.
Thank you. Yeah, we needed that one. We were battling all game. They would go up, we'd come back, and finally we got the win.
It was a tough series. The 1-0 loss, then the trouncing last night. Just make sure nobody hurts their knee, okay? Make sure everybody stays healthy. But after the trouncing last night and then getting down early in this one, but to be able to come back is even more special.
Exactly. We were battling all game. Like I said, they would go 2 runs or 3 runs, and we'd answer back, but, not enough to tie it up or anything. They're not getting me today.
See, now, right there, that's your wide receiver skills coming in. Yeah, very nice. You've alluded to.
You need the peripheral vision,
Yeah, well, all I know is Chris Coughlin is on the disabled list. So.
I know, for similar activities. So.
Yes.
I want to ask you about the 2 at-bats. The at-bat with the bases loaded, the negative, and then the positive, the last at-bat, what you got? All right, they're running out of ammunition.
They're running out.
All right, go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, those 2 at-bats, Mike. Heads up. Here
Beat
comes,
it.
Here
Beat
comes.
it. All right. There.
It's got that creamy menthol taste, too.
Yeah, it tastes awesome.
Yeah. All right, the 2 at-bats previous, Tommy wanted to know about.
Okay. Well, yeah, the first at-bat, all I had to do was put the ball in play and, or get it in the air, and, I wasn't successful, but, that's the thing about baseball. You always get another chance, and, whether it's the next day or, in a situation like this, so it worked out.
Mike, you hit the ball well last night, and I know it was a tough patch for everybody in the month of June. What have you and Eduardo Perez been working on in the cages this last week?
Just staying inside the ball, make sure I'm not cutting myself off, staying through, and just, my problem is more pitch selection than, my actual swing. So that's the main thing I got to work on.
Well, you had good pitch selection. Was it the curveball or the splitter that you hit out?
It looked like a slider to me, but,
okay.
Who knows?
All right, Mike, go get shaved, all right?
Okay,
nice job. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Mike Stanton with a walk-off home run, and the Marlins win it in 10, 7-6. The Fish win it, and they beat the Phillies. They salvage a game in this series. And a good feeling for a ball club that is in desperate need of it.